What industry do you want to see fold and never come back? Robocalls can duck off for good. Every business that thinks it's okay to clog my mailbox with useless mail, unless it's a government or legal document, either let me handle it online or duck off. MLMs and children's beauty pageants. Riverlink was put in charge of collecting tolls from cars going over the Ohio River between Kentucky and Indiana. If you don't have a pass, they mail you your bill, except they never do. I've heard countless people say it happened to them, and it happened to me twice. So one day you get a final notice bill with a fat late fee attached to it, and you can't contest it. I've tried. I don't know how they're allowed to operate like this, but they need to duck all the way off. For-profit prisons. It's like everything a prison shouldn't stand for. Scientology. Payday loans. Healing crystals and essential oils as a health remedy. Predatory lending. Human trafficking. Ticketmaster. Sincerely, everyone. Lol, ducking iPhone does it again. Edited to correctly spell sincerely. Pharmaceutical ads. Not exactly an industry, but I'll never understand why they advertise these drugs for various conditions on TV when your doctors would recommend these drugs themselves if they deemed them appropriate. Commercial dog breeding, aka puppy mills. Not so much an industry, but a methodology. I hate the idea of a product as a service. I don't want to lease stuff. I want it to do whatever the hell I want to with it. Instagram influencers. A bunch of entitled brats getting paid to live experiences that others save their whole lives to do just once. Political advertising. They are one-sided at best, and straight up lies at worst. I don't have time to scroll through this many comments, so pardon me if it's been said. The funeral industry can duck right off. The sheer cost of what they charge for everything and all their little add-ons and hidden fees and high pressure tactics when people are at their most vulnerable should be illegal. I'm seeing more and more people going back to wakes or celebrations of life at home or other venues. Wife and I have already put those instructions into our wills and opted for cremation. We want to bequeath our money to people and charities we care about, not line the pockets of those greedy ducks. For-profit health insurance. Edit. Thanks y'all for your contribution. To those that are saying we LLW hat do you piropo sati hen, I'm saying health insurance is fine. As a concept, executives and shareholders should not be making record profits annually while individuals see their rates and deductibles go up year after year. Bonuses should not be paid out really because insurance is essentially a safety net. If there is surplus cash left over from the year before, it should be rolled over for rainy days. Like when, say, a global pandemic happens and everyone's getting sick. Maybe that record-breaking bonus to the CEO last year could have really helped some people with their medical costs. Not so much an industry, but in America we really need stronger anti-monopoly laws. The fashion industry, who is producing a ton of stuff that is meant to be worn for a few months and then thrown away. Just let it die and all those fashionistas can go along. If I remember correctly, worldwide clothes industry is about 1/10 of all CO2 emission we are causing. So yes, just let it die and rebuild in a more reasonable manner. Are lifetime politicians an industry? Lobbyists. So it's not cool to bribe politicians, but it's totally cool to hire someone to bribe them on your behalf? How in the duck is this okay? Mega churches and Joel Osteen specifically. The current Chinese government. Reality TV. Not sure if it's an industry. Telemarketers. Not much of a business, but still needs to be illegal to sell over the phone. Wedding industry. I'm not saying that photographers shouldn't get paid for what they do or that florists should stop growing flowers. But it has gotten so expensive. And it has very little to do with inflation. Expectations are so high. Everyone is trying to outdo each other, and paying for one little thing is excruciating when you can get the same thing for a birthday party for significantly less. Internet and cable companies. The fact my bill goes up every year and I have to call them to complain in order to get my bill back down is the dumbest business model, and it should go away. The only reason I still have cable is because it is cheaper in my area to buy the bundle. Bundles should also go away. How about an industry practice? Duck manufactured obsolescence. Chinese wet markets. Not an industry, but advertisements for prescription drugs. It needs to stop. Nestle registered sign. Edit. Wow, thanks so much, this is my first Reddit award. This won't be popular, but selling helium for party balloons. The United States made an effort to stockpile helium for necessary industrial purposes, and then they started selling it as a gag for parties when there is a finite amount and a real need. We don't need balloons as much as we need to keep our helium here on Earth and not outgassing to space. J.G. Wentworth. 877 cash now. Predatory methodicas. If you work for J.G. Wentworth, congratulations. You are a huge piece of it. People working for tips shouldn't be a thing. Tips should be given as an extra for good service, not as an amendment to lower than baseline pay. Puppy mills and designer dogs. Also the puppies sold from your van at Walmart industry. Illegal material. Abuse videos. etc. Online casinos. They ruin lives and annoy the rest of us with commercials. Health insurance. They are just middlemen controlling access to doctors and prescriptions. Debt collection agencies. At least in my country, legislation is such that they can make huge profits from what are originally very small debts. 1 month worth of unpaid electricity bill. The whole system is set up to kick people when they're down. It's disgusting. Cigarettes. I don't mind tobacco itself. People can duck up their faces with it all they want. But if cigarettes weren't a thing, then my co-workers wouldn't smell so bad. Phone books delivered to the end of your driveway. Cruise ship. Those floating cesspool of mass tourism polluting like 1,000,000 cars each day and pushing the concretization of the literal to dock them won't be missed. Ticketmaster and its army of ducky bots. Rent-to-own stores. Errands. Rent-a-center. Gamestop. Not really an industry, but they need to duck and go. Those websites and papers that make mugshots for low crimes public with the option to pay to have them removed. I've never been arrested, but that seems like such a scummy way to make money off of people who are already being punished. Not an industry, but all the clickbait YouTubers they can eat a D. Social media influencers. Video game companies that use microtransactions. Exotic animal trade, including exotic animal products, such as ivory. Social media influencers, totally worthless. The entire ducking 0 hours and gig economy. Cruise ships. Carnival Cruise Lines lets out 10x as much pollution as all of Europe's cars together. Die tax dodging polluting duckwits, comma. Prescription advertisements. Caps intentional. Contracting companies. Providing workers to companies for years with little no benefits. No paid vacations or holidays. It has really made me hate the holiday season. Anti-vaxxers and their propaganda. For profit. Privately owned medical companies. That's why my ducking insulin is $400 bottle. Prosperity gospel Christianity. Pyramid scheme companies. Die. Ducking trash. Spam anything. Mail. Calls. Email. All of it. Haha. Not all cosmetic procedures by any means, but I wish for the lip injection sector would die out. So many botched lip injections. Car dealerships. Unnecessary middleman that only exists because they lobbied for laws that forbid customers from buying cars directly from car makers. The military-industrial complex. Child porn industry. It is really ducked up. Healthcare insurance. Medical billing. If we got universal healthcare, we would be self-insured and in the largest self-insured pool, and the savings on lobbyists' advertising and BS rune around medical billing would release so much money into actual healthcare. Then the health insurance and medical billing could keep going only for unnecessary plastic surgery etc. for those who cannot retrain for another position. multi-payer healthcare system in the US, corruption, collusion, and greed between corporations and government at its finest. Reverse mortgages, scam the elderly. Plastic party straws and most companies that make products containing microplastics. Porn. It's so exploitative. Monsanto. When making chemical weapons for the US military didn't work, they turned to stealing the agriculture business from poor hard-working farmers and introduced carcinogens as the newest food group. They need to disappear. In the UK, a company called Bright House has just gone into administration, semi-analogous to filing for Chapter 11. Story: http://BBC News. Bright House. Rent-to-own giant folds as coronavirus shuts shops. Close bracket. They're a ducking parasitic company that allow you to buy things like furniture, household appliances and electronics on finance, but the interest rates are predatory and people end up paying many more times the value of the goods, without even factoring in depreciation. There's a link on the article above that someone paid Uacute to K for a Uacute 450 TV. They prey on the poor and vulnerable, trapping them in a cycle of huge debt, much like payday lenders. Naturally, I'm sorry for the people who have lost their jobs, but duck their business model. The world is a better place without Bright House and their ilk. Tobacco. Part of me wants to say, well, if people want to smoke then that's up to them, but honestly I hate it. Cigarettes smell awful. Cigarette butts are a litter eyesore and it puts unnecessarily strain on hospitals. So if the whole industry could just go ahead and be banned and I wouldn't have to feel like I was limiting people's freedom because the whole thing wouldn't exist anyway, then yeah, that'd be great. Industrial livestock production. Chinese Communist Party. They have their own brand of slaves, and that company is doing one a job right now as far as hygiene. Edit. Typo. Health insurance. Anything I actually need is never covered or still extremely expensive. I am surprised no one has mentioned military industrial complexes. Seriously, war as a business. Make money by causing wars and killing innocent people. I understand the needs of having a basic military for self-defense, but making a business out of it makes no sense. This is going to be controversial, but the meat industry. The lottery and scratch-off ticket business. They're a great way to keep poor people impoverished, and they are usually used as an excuse to cut local taxes and shift them to the poorer sectors of society. I feel similarly about casinos, but I don't live near one, so I'm ignorant to their everyday socio-economic implications. Payday lending. Same reason as above. They also divert money from more legitimate sectors of the economy. Low-level tax preparers. They do for many, not all, people what the IRS already does for free, but have been allowed to continue operating for BS reasons. They just take portions of people's tax returns in exchange for a service that's already provided by the IRS for no charge. I'd hate to sound like a petty cuck, but I would say horse racing because it's just a type of event where rich people can get drunk and bet money on horses who often risk their lives. There's an event that happens really close to me. The Grand National. A massive race that happens every year in April. Hundreds of horses have been killed in that race and it honestly breaks my heart that it happens down the road from where I live. The fossil fuel industry. It's time. Telemarketing, they're just so annoying and I used to keep getting them in class like duck off. I'm trying to look like I'm paying attention here. Social media influencers can be shot into the ducking sun. Cruise industry. Environmental catastrophe that spreads diseases, uses monstrous amounts of resources and pollution worse than a million cars per ship. I was going to come in here and recommend something, but I read the first dozen or so posts and decided those are way worse. Down with all this garbage. Reverse mortgage and paycheck loans. Scum of the earth. Student loans and lending in general to people without jobs. Instagram modeling. Begone thoughts. Dairy industry plus factory farms lol. PS not a vegan okay. Fossil fuels. Cattle ranching. It may not be considered an industry per se, but the way college costs are currently set up needs to completely fold and be reworked. From tuition to books, that crap is one giant scam. Especially with the absolutely egregious amounts of tax money and endowments some of these places receive. Coal. China's coal plants are like leading in global emissions. They won't fold, but I would love to see it happen. Animal agriculture. Morally, what happens to dogs and cats in China is no different to what we do to pigs, chickens, goats, fish, cows. The egg and milk industries basically exist by exploiting the mothers. The baby boys are culled as they provide no use to either, and the mothers are slaughtered too after their production declines. All of this for 5 minutes of taste pleasure? Go vegan for the animals. Enjoy the plant-based version of literally any food. Better for the planet, your health, and most importantly, for the animals. Animal factory farms. I can't think of many other industries that cause so much pain. They truly are evil. Dolphin shows can duck right off the cruel bastards.